Welcome to the Comedic Minds podcast. Here are your AI-generated hosts, Catherine and Justin.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going deep into the world of scams.
Oh, yeah, scams.
We've got a whole stack of wild stories, real cases. We're going to see how these things work and, more importantly, how to avoid them. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because scams, they kind of play on that basic human thing, trust.
Yeah.
And as we're going to see today, they're always changing, always adapting, finding new ways to exploit us.
Absolutely. And we're going to cover the gamut here. We're talking the classic jury duty trick, the rise of deep fakes, even scams that kind of use your own good heart against you. You might be thinking, nah, that'll never happen to me. But trust me, these scammers, they're clever.
They are. And that's why I think these deep dives are so important.
Yeah.
Because anyone can be a target. And really, awareness is the best protection.
Couldn't agree more. So let's start with, I guess, what we're calling scams that prey on fear. This one story from Colorado really caught my eye. This resident lost $6,000 to a jury duty scam. Can you imagine that?
Oh, yeah.
Getting a call, someone saying they're law enforcement, telling you missed jury duty, and now there's a warrant out for your arrest.
I mean, just think about how intimidating a call from the police can be anyway. Right?
Yeah.
So these scammers, they just cap right into that fear, that urgency. And it makes you act without thinking.
Absolutely. You're just like caught off guard. And then to make matters worse, they're using tech to make it even more believable.
Right.
Like in Taunton, Massachusetts, scammers were spoofing real police department phone numbers.
Oh.
So you see that caller ID.
Yeah.
And your brain's like, oh, no, this is legit.
Yeah, you don't even question it. And it just goes to show how technology, while it can be amazing, it also gives these scammers some really, really powerful tools.
Powerful tools.
And this leads us to one of the scariest things I've seen lately.
Yeah.
Deepfakes.
Deepfakes. All right, now we're talking serious stuff. So we saw this report from Malaysia. Deepfake fraud surged by, get this, 1,000%.
1,000%.
In just 1 year.
Oh, my goodness.
So for those who don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, a deepfake is basically a video or audio, that's been messed with.
Right.
They use artificial intelligence to make it look like someone's saying or doing something they never did.
Yeah, it's like, imagine you get a video call from your mom, and she's in trouble. She needs money.
Oh, wow.
But it's not really her.
That's terrifying.
And that's the power of these deepfakes. They're getting so good that, online it's almost impossible to tell what's real and what's not.
Yeah, you just don't know who to trust. So we've got scammers impersonating authority figures using this crazy tech, but they also know how to use information as a weapon. And we saw this in a Yahoo Finance article.
Oh, yeah.
This email scam, it got really personal. The scammers used a photo of the victim's actual house, some personal details, probably from some kind of data breach, who knows. But they used it to create a very believable threat. Like, they claimed they had some embarrassing footage, and of course they wanted money to keep it quiet.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? How much of our information is just out there.
Right.
And how easily it can be used against us.
Yeah.
This case is like just a chilling reminder of that.
For sure. And it gets even weirder because sometimes scammers don't even use fear.
Yeah.
They use our good nature, our kindness, our trust.
I see.
And sometimes wanting to help can actually make us vulnerable. There was this story about a 93-year-old from Napa lost $20,000 in a PayPal scam.
Oh, no.
And this one was particularly tricky because it didn't use threats, right? The victim thought they were owed money.
Oh, wow.
Got an email about an overpayment on PayPal, told to call a number, and then they were told to withdraw cash and send it back to correct the overpayment.
It's heartbreaking, that they prey on people like that.
It is.
It's a good reminder that scams can look like anything. They can appeal to all sorts of emotions. It's not always about fear. Sometimes it's about trust, helpfulness, maybe even greed.
Absolutely. And just when you think you've seen it all, these scammers come up with something new.
Oh, yeah.
Like using official-looking documents to seem more credible.
Right.
Take the fake arrest warrant scam in Brown County.
Oh, yeah, I read about that one. That was a crazy one.
It was. This official document, judge's signature, the whole 9 yards, threatening people with arrest for not showing up for jury duty. It was very detailed.
Wow. They put a lot of effort into making it look real.
They do. But there's always a catch, right? Even scammers make mistakes. This one, they misspelled Brown, like the county, as Brown right there on the warrant.
Oh, wow.
So, sometimes all it takes is a little attention to detail.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's so important to check, especially when it's something official, legal stuff. Don't let fear or pressure make you, make a rash decision. Take a breath, think it through, and if you have any doubt, call someone you trust.
Couldn't agree more. So we've seen a lot of different tactics here, but one thing's for sure, anybody can be a target.
Mm-hmm.
And as technology changes, so do the scams.
Absolutely. And that's why staying informed is so important. It's like an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But knowledge is power,
Mhm.
right? With the right info, you can protect yourself, protect your family and friends from falling victim to this stuff.
It can feel overwhelming, though, can it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really can. It's like every time you turn around, there's a new scam.
Right.
It's exhausting. So where do we even begin? Like, how can we stay ahead of all this?
Well, it's funny you should say that
Oh, yeah.
because one of these cases really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And it really shows how important it is to be careful, even with institutions we normally trust.
You're talking about that Heartland Tri-State Bank in Kansas.
Exactly, yeah.
The CEO, Shan Haynes, 24 years for embezzlement.
Yeah, that's the one. And, this wasn't your typical scam, right? It wasn't targeting individuals.
No.
But it shows that financial fraud, well, it can happen anywhere,
Anywhere.
even in places we think are secure.
So Haynes took bank funds, put them into a cryptocurrency wallet,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole thing just collapsed.
It did.
Cost investors millions.
Millions.
It's a harsh lesson, isn't it? That we can't just blindly trust any institution. So how do we apply this to like everyday life? What can we do to protect ourselves,
Yeah.
especially with our money?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is to be super careful about who we trust with our personal information.
Right.
Where we share that sensitive stuff.
Like social security numbers, bank details, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Think twice before you give that out.
Especially online.
Oh, especially online.
It's so easy to like fall for a phishing scam or end up on a website that looks real, but it's not.
Right, right. So always double check those URLs. Look for that secure connection.
HTTPS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And be careful with any emails, messages that just pop up and ask for information.
Yeah, if anything seems off, don't
Yeah.
do it.
Don't do it. Call the organization directly. Use a number is real, from their website or something.
You're like, trust but verify.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
And that makes me think of another thing, checking your bank accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Credit card statements all the time.
Regularly, yeah.
Looking for anything suspicious.
Because even a small charge, if it's not yours, it could be a sign of something bigger.
Right. Better to catch it early.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, yeah.
If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Probably is.
Talk to your bank, a financial advisor, or, someone you trust.
Makes sense. Speaking of trusting your gut, let's go back to deepfakes for a second.
Okay, yeah.
With technology getting so good, how can we even be sure what we're seeing or hearing is real?
It's true. It's a real challenge.
Right.
And those deep fakes are so sophisticated now. But there are some things you can watch for.
Okay.
Pay attention to the details.
Details.
Yeah, like look for anything strange in the lighting, shadows, or anything unnatural about how they're blinking or moving their mouth.
Interesting.
And listen to the audio. Sometimes you can hear it, a weird rhythm in the voice or a robotic sound.
But as tech gets better, those clues are going to be harder to spot. I mean, it feels like we almost need to be skeptical of everything.
I think you're right. We have to be. We need to be smart about what we see online.
Be a savvy consumer.
Exactly. Don't just accept everything at face value, right?
Right.
Check your sources.
Yeah.
Double check the facts. And be super careful with stuff on social media, places like that.
And that means talking to our friends and family too, right?
No, absolutely.
Especially people who might, be more vulnerable to scams.
Yeah. Sharing information is one of the best ways we can protect each other.
Absolutely. The more we know, the better we can fight back.
I agree.
So let's say you're in a situation and you think, hold on, this might be a scam. What should you do?
Okay, well, first, don't panic.
Don't panic.
Take a deep breath and try to think clearly.
Okay.
Then gather all the information you can. If it was a phone call, hang up and call the organization directly. But use a number you find yourself, not one they gave you.
Good point.
Yeah. And never, ever give personal information or send money if you feel pressured.
Right?
That's a huge red flag.
Huge red flag.
They want you to act without thinking. Don't let them. If you have doubts, slow down, check things out, and ask someone you trust.
Makes sense. So let's say the worst happens.
Okay,
You realize you've been scammed. What then?
then you need to report it right away.
Okay.
Call your local police, the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI.
Yeah.
They can help you, and they can try to catch these guys.
And reporting it doesn't just help you, it helps other people too.
Exactly.
It helps stop these scams.
It does. It's about all of us working together.
Right. So we've seen all these different scams today.
Yeah,
It's a wild world out there. I can feel like you're always one step behind.
it's true. But remember, you're not helpless.
Right.
You have the power of knowledge. You can think critically. You can be vigilant.
Be aware.
And that's how you stay safe.
So stay informed, be careful, and double check everything.
Exactly.
It's a learning process,
It is.
but it's how we protect ourselves.
Right.
So let's move on now
All right.
to a type of scam that plays on something really deep. Our need for connection. For love.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about romance scams.
Romance scams.
I mean, losing money is one thing.
Yeah.
But when someone messes with your heart, that's a whole other level of awful.
It really is. These romance scams, they're especially sneaky. They use our need for love, for connection.
Right.
They build this, trust and closeness, sometimes for weeks, months, even years, and then they strike.
And it seems like with all the online dating and social media, it's just easier than ever for these scammers to find people.
Oh, absolutely.
You're looking for someone special.
Right.
Then you see this profile, and they just seem too perfect.
Yeah, and usually they are. They make these fake profiles, stolen photos, these elaborate backstories designed to make you feel something.
Like they're playing a role in a movie or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they give you all this attention, affection. It's like a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Makes you, lose your better judgment.
Absolutely. And then once they have you, they start asking for money.
Right.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
Some emergency, travel expenses to finally meet, a business deal gone wrong. They know how to push your buttons.
They do. And it works. People lose thousands, sometimes their life savings. And the emotional damage, well, that can be even worse.
It's a tough lesson that not everyone online is who they say they are. So how do we protect ourselves? What are the signs?
Well, first off, if someone online asks you for money, giant red flag. Doesn't matter how sad their story is, how much you think you love them. Don't send money to someone you've never met face to face.
Okay, that's a good one. What about if they won't video chat?
Yeah, that too. Or meet in person. If they're really interested, they'll want to connect, see you for real.
Makes sense.
Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
It probably is.
Talk to your friends, family. Get a second opinion. Sometimes they can see things you don't.
Good advice.
And do your research. Use those reverse image searches. See if their photos are real, if their story makes sense. Remember, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
It probably is. Well, we've covered a lot today.
We have.
Scams that scare you, scams that use your kindness, scams that break your heart. It's a lot.
It is a lot. But the good news is we can fight back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, knowledge is our best weapon. Think critically, be careful, and you can stay safe.
So be aware, be informed, and be skeptical.
Exactly. That's how we navigate this crazy world.
Well, we hope you've learned something today, and that you can use this information to protect yourself and those you care about.
We do. Remember, trust your gut, check things out, and if you're ever not sure, ask for help.
And if you think you've encountered a scam, report it. Don't let them get away with it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Comedic Mind podcast. Make sure you check out comedicmind.com for more information. Peace, family.